views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Hello, welcome to The American Veteran. I'm Dale Parrish, your host, and along with me is my co-host, Bud Mendenhall, and also with us today is Harold Schick, a fellow Korean War veteran. Before I introduce our guest, Bud here has a letter that he'd like to read that pertains to the Korean War veterans.
The Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in Chicago presents its compliments to the Korean War Veterans Association, Indiana Chapter 1, and has the honor to request the latter for assistance with updating contact information of its members. As part of the efforts of the Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in Chicago to present Peace Ambassador medals to the Honorable Korean War Veterans, please provide the most updated contact information and mailing addresses of current members in the chapter by February 18th of 2011. All inquiries and responses can be made to Miss Hee-Won Kim at the Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in Chicago at 312-822-9485 extension 133. That's 312-822-9485 extension 133, or consulatechicago@gmail.com. That's consulatechicago@gmail.com. In the hope of assisting each member better, a form and self-addressed stamp return envelope are enclosed. The Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in Chicago avails itself of this opportunity to renew the Korean War Veterans Association the assurance of his highest esteem and consideration.
Thank you, Bud. Our guest today is Ed Parent. He's a Vietnam War veteran, recipient of the Bronze Star for Valor and the Purple Heart. Ed, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You was with the Army?
First Air Cav.
First Air Cav. Mm-hmm. Well, tell us, when did you get to Vietnam?
I was there in 68, 69.
About right in the center, middle of the...
Just about.
Yeah.
But the worst part of the TEP was all over. I spent my first 3 months in I Corps, which is up along the DMZ.
Tell us some of your experiences, if you don't mind.
Well, my first one is when you get in country, I get assigned to a unit. First thing I was told was, do not move. I had an RTO, was a nice guy. He said, the last 3 of you guys only lasted a week. In fact, the guy I replaced, they put on a helicopter as I landed in a body bag. So anyways, for 30 days, this guy threatened to kill me if I moved without asking. So over there, that was true. You had to get organized in your brain. The climate was working again. So after 30 days, I was actually allowed to do something by myself. But I always give him a lot of credit for me still being alive.
Yeah. You went over as a replacement, not part of a unit.
No, I went, just replacement. Yeah. Went into Cam Ranh Bay.
Yeah. What weapons did you carry?
M16. Then I later on a 15 with a grenade launcher underneath it, 37.
I understand they had a lot of jamming problems with the...
Not when I was there. They pretty well corrected that problem.
Yeah. I guess it was keeping them clean was the main thing.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were We never had a problem with any of ours.
Yeah.
What's the I-Corps now? I'm not familiar with the
I-Corps
Army.
would have been up around in North Vietnam. You had Quang Tri, the DMZ over the Cambodian border, and that was the northern part of Vietnam. So we started out up there, and then later on, they thought they were massing along the Cambodian border, a place called Parrot Beak, and then later on they moved the whole division, believe it or not, in 24 hours to, or almost the whole division, down to a place called Tay Ninh. Tay Ninh was a large village outside. There's a mountain called Mui Ba Din, which Mui Ba Din is the Black Virgin Mountain. And it's really kind of a strange mountain, right? Because here's this flat land. The only thing here is one mountain. That's it. That's it. Well, this mountain was controlled by the Vietnamese during the French War with the French. And so it's kind of a strange thing. We owned the bottom. The Green Beret owned the top. And the Viet Cong owned everything in between. There were so many tunnels and caves. I don't even know how the mountain stayed up. It was just honeycomb with caves. And they used to come out every once in a while and shoot down at the LZ. Then we'd shoot back.
I was going to ask, was you ever in one of those caves?
One. That was actually I wasn't in that one. I was another place. It's called An Khê, which is on top of the mountain. On An Khê is a first cab patch, and there's also a Big Red 1 and a 101st Airborne patch in concrete. And a lot of people died taking that little mountain. It's not a big mountain, taking it. But that's the same thing. It was actually used during the French War and just honeycombed with caves, ammunition, food, everything. And so I did have an opportunity to go in that, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, they were industrious little people.
Did they have, beds down in those caves?
Oh yeah, one of the strangest things we ever found, besides weapon caches, was underground hospitals.
That's what I was wondering.
You go down these tunnels. They're not very big tunnel, being that I was only 5'6", right, 119 pounds. Well, you get sometimes you go down, get chose to go down a tunnel. So you go down there, and these open up in elaborate rooms, surgical rooms, beds. I mean, everything. I mean, but they've been doing this in Vietnam, they were at war for the last 300 years, 400 years.
Yeah. I read where they had a miserable life living underground. Diseases.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
insects, snakes.
Yeah, well, you think you don't get the sunshine, you live in damp, moist,
Yeah.
dirt, But for temporary, just to get somebody patched up and get them out of there, it's quite an elaborate thing.
Yeah. How did they try to smoke them out or anything like that?
Well, it's really strange. You find a little hole, right? And not much of anything. But you figure out it's a tunnel. Well, they're not very wide tunnels, you think. But when you get down in these things, and they just open up. I mean, there's no giant exit. At least the ones I was in, never seen anything big.
Yeah.
Where you got in and out, so they're hard to find.
Ed, when we took them over, did we use the tunnels ourselves?
No, we blew them up.
Blew them up?
Yeah, call Army Corps of Engineers in. They would go down and set charges, sink the ground about 80 feet. Some of those some of them are really deep. Weapon caches, I think some of those had to be 30 feet underground. Rice caches, They would just spot this food and ammunition and that in these different locations.
They use a lot of artillery,
No, they were good with mortars.
mortars.
Oh yeah.
That's Harold's.
Yeah, they were. They would, you know, the little small mortars. They would take those and they can make a mortar out of anything, bamboo.
Huh.
Hollow out bamboo,
Yeah.
and put a piece of metal on the end with a nail in it. Drop them in there and launch them out. We was working one area, and the bamboo was so thick you couldn't walk through it. We crawled for 2 days on our hands and knees to get through it because it just lay crisscrossed. Couldn't find an opening to even. I don't even know. If you got in trouble in there, you were in big trouble.
Yeah, I
You couldn't
guess.
even a small M16. You couldn't move it to shoot anybody if you wanted to.
Well, that sounds very dangerous. I assume those bomb or bamboo tubes would malfunction and or explode right there.
You hope they would, but they didn't.
They didn't?
No. Well, they'd only use the one charge, so they weren't that far away. That's one thing. After a while, you get mortared enough. Pretty soon, you're listening for it. You hear the thunk, and you know you better be hitting the ground because they're coming in.
Yeah.
And they're good. Those little guys were good.
I think Vietnam's, call it a cousin from Korea, because it was all the same. It was against communism.
Yeah. The only thing bad about the Vietnam War, at least from my perspective, is too many politics getting away. Wars are won by those that kill the most and break the most. I don't care. I mean, it all comes down to that.
Yeah.
But when you've got, well, like Korea, you can't go across this line. You can't go over here. Cambodia, we was in Cambodia on a special assignment, and you go there and their families are living there. They got big housing over there. You can't bomb it. You can't go over there and invade it. North Vietnam never got invaded. I mean, if the other guy has to go protect his own homeland, he can't send troops down to get you. I mean, common sense
Yeah.
to tell you.
Yeah.
Politics getting away with good war.
Too much. Too much.
I think that was the longest war in history, too. 10 years is what I looked up
Oh,
on the
yeah,
internet.
yeah. It didn't need to be.
We had people over there, I guess, in 50
Right.
as,
Mhm.
as
Advisors.
advisors. Yeah. Then it lasted till 75.
Mhm.
Well, I understood that Iraq and Afghanistan has passed Vietnam now. It might be time.
Yeah, but you look at the number of people died, and I'm not just the American side. I mean, you're looking at millions of North Vietnamese. I mean, that number is probably pretty accurate. I mean, was it 56,000 Americans?
Well, 58,000 you lost in Vietnam with,
Yeah.
I think we have here 350,000 casualties.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe that. I mean,
10 years.
and the death I seen over there on their side was tremendous.
I think it was in the millions. if I
Oh,
remember.
it had to
Had to
be.
be.
It had to be.
You have any experience with the helicopters?
That's all. Yeah, we made combat assaults out of helicopters, and depending on what mission you're on, sometimes you get picked up, and we would hopscotch, trying to catch up with a certain North Vietnamese unit. So you go this day and get dropped off, and you go over here, and then they tell you to go over here and get picked up, and then they take you over here. So we did that for a while. Then we got in the mountains in I Corps. It was a little bit hard to do that, but we chased a battalion of North Vietnamese for about 3 months in there. We did finally catch up with them, big firefight. But then once in a while you get that famous call that you're going into a hot LZ, and that's when all the gunships and helicopters and everything's shooting. You get on the ground and find some place to hide your butt.
Those gunships are, I guess, for something else.
That Cobra was a mean machine. I like those guys. They're my favorite people.
You know, I've known Ed probably, 35 years
Mhm.
at least. I don't think either one of us knew the other one was veterans. It was just something, seemed like we didn't talk about then.
No, but I tell people, most vets don't talk to people about their experiences to other vets.
Yeah.
You know, because things that vets see done are not understandable by people who've never been there.
Yeah.
It just can't be.
Exactly right, you know.
And that's even my wife. She don't. You can't. There's no one that can. Even I feel sorry for the guys. Although they're better than what we had it coming back from Afghanistan or Iraq. I just seen the other day where suicide rate among veterans is outrageous. Well, Vietnam or any other war, you come back. The problem with Vietnam was, I mean, you look how many homeless people you have that was ex-vets, and that there's mental issues that these people that have seen things and not that they've done them, but just the death you've witnessed is a hard thing. Whether it's your side or their side, it doesn't make any difference later on in life. It's just a human being, no matter who was dead.
Was they using Agent Orange when you was there?
Yeah, you go into jungles that didn't exist anymore, just dead trees. Agent Orange, it would explode the tree. All Agent Orange did was made the tree grow so fast, or the grass or anything, that it exploded. Because the inside would grow a lot faster than the outside shell. And the tree, I mean, we're talking trees twice as round as this table, humongous trees.
What did it do to people?
Well, look at me. I mean, I never had a problem, but how long was we there after it was sprayed? I don't know. I think the two worst things I ever seen in Vietnam was weapon-wise was probably napalm is devastating, and the other one was a daisy cutter bomb, which is really almost a nuclear weapon. It's 1 million pounds of TNT.
They used it there?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing that they used, I think, in Iraq?
No, what they used these for, supposedly, right, was to clear an LZ. You want to land helicopters? Well, you drop these, and what they used was called, I think, if my memory's serving right, a VT fuse. As soon as that bomb hit a leaf, it exploded because they wanted to explode above ground, no holes, and it would just flatten every tree. You could land about 12 helicopters immediately.
Oh.
They just took everything off the ground. It did clear LZ in a hurry.
How long was the tour? Was your tour?
A year.
Just a year.
Yeah. That's another thing about Vietnam, and I don't know about you guys. I don't know during Korea, your lieutenant, he was with you throughout, or before he got killed, or I don't know how it
Well,
worked.
I was in the Navy. I was a little bit different
Okay.
than these guys.
Well, in Vietnam, I had 4 lieutenants in a year. That's the other thing I had a problem with the military back in. It was like you change lieutenants like you change socks. These guys come over just long enough to get a combat badge and blow out of there. They didn't know anything about combat. Had some of the stupidest people I've ever seen in my life as lieutenants.
I was the first lieutenant, so be careful what you say.
That's okay. You were there for more than 3 weeks, right?
Oh, yeah.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
That was a joke. That part was a joke.
Yeah.
There were some. Don't get me wrong. There were some good guys, but even the good ones, they were gone. I mean, it was not good. Yeah, and these guys want to be in charge.
Well, it depends what unit you're in. I was in the mortar unit, and I was up with the forward observers, but we didn't go on in as many patrols and limited combat units as the lieutenants and the infantry.
Right.
So we tend to live longer.
Mm-hmm. Well, but the lieutenants in the infantry back then stayed with them. Mm-hmm. They didn't come in for 3 weeks, then go somewhere else, and that's what they were doing over there. The only thing I ever hated about the chain of command was that part. To this day, that just grinds me to no end.
Yeah.
You have some little clown show up. You've been there 9 months, and he wants to give you an order that you know is stupid. I mean, of course, back then, I will just say one thing. Back then, you just tell them to shove it. You're not doing it. Ain't nobody going to court-martial you. That's all there was to it. But you've been there long enough and you know what's going to get you killed or somebody else killed, and you don't let some little
Yeah.
guy with a bar on his shirt come walking in there and get people hurt
Yeah.
just because he's trying to make a name for himself.
They had promotions up through the ranks. Did you get promoted up through, I mean, not, what do you call it, the Army used to call it promotion on the field there, where you,
Field promotion.
field
Field.
promotion?
I was a staff sergeant. I was a buck sergeant when I was there. Got promoted to staff sergeant. At one time I was talked to about a battlefield, what they call a battlefield commission, and I said no. Only because I was so densely against lieutenants. And it wasn't the lieutenant. It was just, it could have been a captain doing the same thing. I don't care. Whoever was just coming and going in there, just didn't make sense.
Come up to get his medals and leave. That's what he did.
Yeah, well, the Pentagon let him. That's what drove me nuts. I tell you a story. I told these guys, this is the only combat story I'll tell you. It was lieutenant, and I liked him. He was a good guy. Well, a captain got wounded, so he took over the company. And we were working in an area that we knew there's a lot of, not North Vietnamese regular, a lot of Viet Cong. Now, Viet Cong don't normally attack you. They're the mortar people, when snipers, stuff like that. They don't do large scale most of the time. So we set up this, what we call an FOB at the end of the day, and made a perimeter. And there's a well in the middle where we were at, and it is the bad guys' well. It's where they get their water. I told this to them. I said, I do not like this. Every Viet Cong in the world knows where this well is. And you're going to sit out there and there's a lot of mortars on this top of this well tonight. Oh, no, this is a good place. It's a good place. I went to my guys and says, you dig your bunkers deep tonight. 'Cause every night you had to dig a foxhole and sandbag, put over it, dig them deep, extra layer of sandbags tonight. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. The lieutenant's dead. 4 other people in the CP's dead. Where are they at? Right at that well. That's what I'm talking about when you get just common. I told people, when you get over there and you're there a while, you get a extra sense in the back of your head. You know things. If you ever watched the movie, I can't remember now, We Were Soldiers. If you ever watched,
Yes.
that is Vietnam. When that guy's laying down there and says, hey, the big Conger here, the guy says, how do you know? I can't see anything. I can smell them. I'm telling you, when we were there, you knew. You smelled the battle before it came. After you've been there a while. I don't care if it's an animal instinct or what it is. But that's what I'm talking about, lieutenants. Or not, I say it could have been a captain. If they were coming, whoever was coming and going, you had to listen to the people that's been there, and at least were still alive after 9 months. They knew enough to stay alive.
Hagedorn, when we have him on, he'll tell you about what he said about being able to smell. He said he knew.
You knew. 2 things. One is cut trees. Is one thing, first thing is smell. And that means somebody is building a bunker somewhere. They're building something. In the middle of a jungle, we're not building it. There's only one other guy's out there building it. So that was the first thing. Next thing he did, for me anyways, was I could smell them. I'm sure they could smell us.
I think Vietnam was the first war that you didn't know who you was fighting.
Yeah, we did. Anything that was on the other side of that tree. It didn't make any difference if it moved, you shot it. That's one thing neat about Vietnam. Not neat, but more bullets were fired in Vietnam to kill one person. Because in World War II, the biggest problem they had was getting people to shoot the gun. Believe it or not. In Vietnam, the biggest thing you had to get people to stop. That's true. I mean, I will say, the American soldier in Vietnam, and politics aside, they were just there to survive. That's all it boiled down to. They really did. And you work together to survive. I'm not sure it was ever to win anything for the individual soldier. Because you've seen the politics in the whole thing. Generals lied, politicians lied, everybody lied. You wouldn't shoot Jane Fonda, so, you know, I'm just saying, it actually became a joke after a while, so it was, hey guys, we'll work together, we'll all get out of here together, go home.
Want to talk about your Bronze Star? Or?
No, that was, Bronze Star is a award. I'll talk about my Purple Heart.
All right. I didn't know whether to ask
Yeah,
about that.
no,
or
it's
not.
okay. Purple Heart was that we had just two bad guys, but unfortunately, I'm hiding behind this tree, right, and we're exchanging fire back and forth, and I got 5 other or 8 other guys with me at the time, and anyways, the little jerk missed the tree I was behind, hit the tree behind me, so I got shrapnel. That's what it boiled down to. If he was a better shot, he hit the tree in front of me, he wouldn't have done anything, but he missed the tree in front of me. Then the guy next to me actually shot him after he shot the RPG, but he missed the tree outside. If he would have hit the front of the tree, I'd been okay. And I didn't go, actually initially I didn't go to the hospital. Shrapnel wounds, I mean I had actually had a couple before, and just small pieces. This was a little more in my back, but believe it or not, and I got one of my thumb. I'm sitting there holding my gun, and so I get one of my thumb, which is that scar right there. Anyway, it became infected, and I had to go down. And one thing about Vietnam, if you got a cut, you better get taken care of, because I'm telling you, infection was rampant.
What do they call them? Punchies?
Budgie sticks. Yeah, they take water buffalo crap or their own, put them on bamboos, cover up the trails. Yeah.
From what I read, in Vietnam, if you got wounded, your chances of dying was something like 20%. While in World War II, when I was there, chances of living was 40%. I mean, you died at 40% and 20% in Vietnam. So you had much better medical facilities
Oh yeah.
compared to what we had. In
Had a
World
friend of
War
mine got shot in the stomach, and we told him, well, have a good life in the States, because that was a stateside wound, okay? 3 months later, he comes walking back into, what are you doing? You got shot right in the belly. He did. He said, didn't hit a vital organ, didn't hit nothing. He says, they cut me open, took all my guts and put them over here, washed everything up, put them back in. He had a scar from here up to here. He said they took mesh, plastic mesh, put in here, put it over, super glued him, a couple staples. He says, a month later, go in there and a guy grabs this little plastic tab here and pulls that mesh out. He says, that hurt? And she says, here I am again.
You're standing right back up front.
No, I talked to the company commander. I was staff sergeant in Houston, and then we said, he's only got a month left. What in the world is he doing out here? I mean, actually, a little month and a half. And we usually try to get somebody out of the field a month before their date to leave, only because they're not, their head's not in the game.
Well, hate to shut us off. Ed, appreciate you coming and joining us today. And to the viewers, thank you for being with us. Remember that everybody gave some, but some gave everything. So remember, freedom is not free. So see you later.